which we may well designate as a great fall. We catch only glimpses here and there of the stray records that have been kept of his sayings and doings. For verily it has been well said that the doings and sayings of that great soul would fill the world if they had been all written down. And the 3 years of his ministry were like one compressed, concentrated age, which has taken 1,900 years to unfold, and who knows how much longer it will yet take. Little men like you and me are simply the recipients of just a little energy. A few minutes, a few hours, a few years at best, are enough to spend it all, to stretch it out, as it were, to the fullest strength, and then we are gone forever. But mark this giant that came, centuries and ages pass, yet the energy that he left upon the world is not yet stretched, nor yet expended to its full. It goes on, adding new vigor as the ages roll on. Now, what you see in the life of Christ is the life of all the past. The life of every man is, in a matter, the life of the past. It comes to him through heredity, through surroundings, through education, through his own reincarnation, the past of the race. In a manner, the past of the earth, the past of the whole world is there upon every soul. What are we in the present but a result, an effect, in the hands of that infinite past? What are we but floating waveless in the eternal current of events, irresistibly moved forward and onward and incapable of rest? But you and I are only little bubbles, only little things, bubbles. There are always some giant waves in the ocean of affairs, and you and me in the life of the past race has been embodied only a little, but there are giants who embody, as it were, almost the whole of the past, and who stretch out their hands for the future. These are the signposts here and there which point to the march of humanity, these verily gigantic, their shadows covering the earth. They stand undying, eternal. It has been said by the same messenger, "No man hath seen God at any time but through the Son," and that is true. And where shall we see God but in the Son? It is true that you and I, and the poorest of us, the meanest even, embody God, even reflect that God. The vibration of light is everywhere, omnipresent. But we have to strike the light of the lamp before we can see the light. The omnipresent God of the universe cannot be seen until he is reflected by these giant lamps of the earth, the prophets, the God-mans, the incarnations, the embodiments of God. Thank you.
and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. Joy to the world, the Savior reigns. Let men their songs employ. Wide fields and floods, rocks, hills, and plains, repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy. He rules the world with truth and grace, and makes the nations rule. The glories of his righteousness, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing.
Barbara's coming.
In honor of Chaitanya, here is a limerick. Chaitanya was a very great saint who lived a life without any taint. We are reading his prayer. Our voices fill the air with beautiful thoughts and self-restraint. Chaitanya's prayer. Chant the name of the Lord and his glory unceasingly,
that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean, and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. O name, stream down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself. O self, drown deep in the waves of his bliss, chanting his name continually, tasting his nectar at every step, bathing in his name that bath for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy. How huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass, be patient and forbearing like the tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue. The playthings of lust are the toys of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy, consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Ah, how I long for the day when an instant separation from thee, O Govinda, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou, who stealest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. On this next tune, there's just on the second verse, it's what the Gladstone titled for you. Oh, is that right? Oh, okay. Yeah, because the computer sometimes does this print around. You downloaded it. Good job.
We do without that.
Okay.
Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains and the mountains. Excelsis Deo.
So, once you set it up, one of the, if you can help with that. Okay. Just used to, the projection needs help when I'm not there. You can just do page down. That should, I'll tell you next slide when it comes up. Okay. So today, Swamisi gave me a very fun topic, and it is called the lost life of Jesus revealed. So some part of Jesus's life in history is a mystery. And that is what is the discussion today. So if you just search about it, so when he gave me this topic about a week ago, okay. So thanks, Toby. So when this fun topic was given to me, it is a book by a guy called Charles Potter. And if you read that book, you're like, okay, how to put it in a few minutes. So I thought instead of reading from a paragraph, just give a gist of the entire discussion and add something which is quite relevant to our order. There are stories about it. So he is not the first person who has written this book. There is some person way before who has written this book. So the main thing is that I'm going to give some theories here, and this part of life is called unknown life of Jesus Christ. They are sometimes called silent years, sometimes they're called missing years. This literally came out of a generative AI answering my question. And and the disclaimer, I mean, why not do it in 2023 December? And there's a disclaimer. Nothing of these theories are proven. Everything is a speculation. Many are fringe theories. So before I begin, I am going to tell you there are theories that are fringe. Next slide. Okay, so this is what Charles Potter talks about. He talks about the theory of Essenes. Now, what is this? This was not known before 1976 at all. So, in 1976, what happened? The war with Egypt ended, and West Bank was, I'll not use the word rightly, started being inhabited by many Jewish people. When they went there, these caves of Qumran, K-U-M-R-A-N, Qumran, were discovered. People had started entering these caves, and they found out these papyrus-like scrolls. When you read these scrolls, this talks about this lost life of Jesus Christ, according to people. The Essenes are a lost tribe of Jewish people. They were mystics. In our way of speaking, they were sadhakas. They were strong practitioners of tradition and religious life. It is believed that Jesus lived with them and practiced with them. We find in his teachings theory of righteousness. The Essenes believed in that theory. So this theory is now getting widely discussed, and Francis Potter actually in his, Charles Potter in his book, he actually talks about this theory of Essenes very deeply, and he says that now we believe that this is where he stayed, this is lost Judea, what they call, and this is where he was. So somewhere, one thing that is common here is that he did some intense practice of some sadhana. That is what this book is saying. Next. But before he wrote this book, one guy who is very interesting wrote a book. Somewhere in 1800s, Nicholas Notovich, a Russian traveler, he wrote a book, and actually the book heading is the untitled, like the lost years of Jesus Christ. So Potter is not the first person who used the title. Before that, somebody used the same title. Now, Notovich's book gained extreme popularity. Why? Because he actually said that Jesus lived in India. During these formative years, he actually came to India, according to Notovich. Where did he stay? Notovich has a very funky story. Half of it is not proven. He apparently broke his leg in Kashmir, in Himalayas on his travels, and some Buddhist bhikshus or monks carried him to a monastery. This monastery in real life exists, called Hemis Monastery, and he got treated by these monks. In this library, he found some old Buddhist scriptures where he says he finds this hidden life or lost life of Jesus Christ. This is today where the monastery is in real life Kashmir. I wanted to make people aware this is also a very disputed land, but here is this monastery still exists. Now, when Swami Abhedananda, now this is where it gets serious, Swami Abhedananda was in New York, he came to know about Notovich's book. He got super interested. In 1922, when he left United States, he went back to India, and the first place he visited was Kashmir. He has a book about his reminiscence of Kashmir travel. He visits the Hemis monastery, and according to our knowledge, he was able to find out these actual scriptures that talk about it. He never writes about it in his book and travels. Post his passing away, his disciple went there, but by that time, the Hemis monastery unfortunately has gotten a lot of attraction from a lot of people in Christendom. They said the book is lost. We do not know what happened to the book or the scriptures, but Notovich's theory remains an unproven theory that Jesus lived in India. Next slide. Another one. This is very modern, post 2000. The guy's name is Holger Kirsten. He writes about, he's a German author, he writes about myth, legend, religion, and things like that. Again, none of his theories are proven, as usual, but he also talks that Jesus lived in India. This book you can find in Amazon for $14.79. If you want to buy local, you can go to Powell's for $15. This book literally says Jesus lived in India, his unknown life before and after the crucifixion. So this guy goes beyond. He talks about Easter. Easter is resurrection, right? Rebirth. Jesus Christ reborn. Good Friday is the day he gets crucified. Then he gets reborn, right? He says that not reborn, he got treated in a cave and he wanted to flee that land because he was being persecuted. He runs away and he comes to Kashmir. That is his theory, right? And rebirth is widely celebrated, right? We celebrate, long ago Swami Asheshananda in 1970s, I found from his writings, he gave a talk that why to celebrate Easter. And he said that Easter means rebirth, resurrection. And he says in Ramakrishna order, we actually celebrate resurrection. Why? All monks have rebirth. They lose their earlier identity, and on the day of Biraja Homa, they take a new identity. So rebirth and resurrection is there, present. And there is no issue in, because in Ramakrishna order, we never celebrate or something like a death of a saint. But we definitely celebrate birth. We are very happy about it. So anyway, but he talks about that he again went. So he proves with an unproven theory of a very old Islamic preacher. So what is the theory is that if you go to Kashmir today, in Kashmir, well, I have actually been here, there is a place called Rosa Bal. Now this Kashmir is full of balls. Hazrat Bal, Rosa Bal, this. So what this means is the remains of a Islamic peer or saint is there in that tomb. It's a mausoleum. Okay, and some remain of the saint is there. That is what is believed. So there was a saint called Rosa in Islamic tradition, Pir Rosa. Some remains of him is there in this place. It is a shrine there, and it is believed, this person wrote about it for the first time, that is what he speculates on. He believed that this is the tomb of Jesus Christ. He is from the Ahmadiyya sect of Islam. He believed that. Why? Because there is a wooden, like this kind of like a wooden carving. It's a face, wooden carved, of a guy who is actually, whose mausoleum is this one. If you look at that, it looked like an aged Jesus Christ, the common picture of Jesus Christ that we see. That was the speculation. So we don't know whether he actually lived in India or not. I actually do not at all know, but people have, like multiple people have given theories. So next one. Okay. But one thing, there is a commonality. So one thing that comes up here is that, theories aside, we see that 18 years of Jesus Christ's life is missing. We don't know much, like nothing about it, right? This is very common among mystics, super common. Two examples, Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother. Sri Ramakrishna's life between 1860 to 1875 is not known at all. Completely not known. 12 to 15 years of his life, we know like 2 to 3 days worth of stories of 15 years. That pretty much means that we don't know about the life. Holy Mother's life, if you read the Sarada Devi and her Divine Pledge, Chaitanyananda ji clearly writes, post Sri Ramakrishna's passing away in 1886, till the beginning of Mother's starting of spiritual ministry in Udbodhan in 1897, we don't know much about her life. There are only 3 stories that we know of that time. 3 stories, that means maybe 6 days worth of events we know out of 11 years of life. So the thing, and this is the example that I took because we read about them all the time in, like, holy lives, but it is common among other mystics also. Certain parts of their life suddenly goes missing. So what do they do at that time? So there's a common theory. Next slide. This sadhana. These people in all probability are God born in human body form. That is our belief, right? In our tradition, we believe in incarnate. So God born in human body form. But even though they are with human body forms, it is constantly said that they practice sadhana to show us the pathway, that it can be done in this life with this body of flesh and blood. So maybe this is what they do, right? Sri Ramakrishna constantly talks about in the gospel about nirjan sadhana. You go hiding from the eyes of the society, and then you do some intense penance. Maybe that's what they did. The place and time and the situation maybe doesn't matter. But what matters is when they came out of it, they came into this life transformation mode for people, right? The moment, so there is a very interesting speech of Swami Vivekananda that he says that before meeting Sri Ramakrishna, I did not believe that if somebody touches a blind person, they can get their eyes back. If somebody touches a person with skin disease, their skin disease can get cured. We hear these stories about Jesus Christ. He is actually mentioning that. Swamiji says that he did not believe this. But then he says, after I met Sri Ramakrishna, I believe this. That is actually possible. So, miracles aside, the power of being the one true self is something that reveals. So, there's another school of thought. I thought that I would add this because we love this topic. Next slide. Old yogic concept. So this comes from the school of yoga, not from the school of Vedanta. So there is an old yogic concept. We talk about these year timelines when we study Bhagavad Gita. When we were in the last chapter, the 9th chapter, Chandrasekhar and Nandaji spent one class describing a lot of mathematics according to our tradition. And it was very crazy. You can't millions of years is like 1 year of somebody's life and things like that. But in old yogic concept, there is a concept that 12 years is considered as one yuga or one epoch, as you might consider. This is the old yogic concept. Now, they say if you practice one yoga of pranayama, it causes a permanent change in your pranic pathway. So, we constantly talk about prana. So I just took a picture in real life that what on earth are these 5 pranas in our body. So this is literally a human anatomical picture of a yogic body, and it talks about where the 5 pranas are. These are 5 pranic, and there are pranic pathways which are nadis. So they say that permanently your pranic pathways change in the school of yoga. So 12 years of constant practice, not sure what they did and what they did, it apparently changes human body permanently. That is the yogic concept. So we are yoga Vedanta people. I just gave perspective from Sri Ramakrishna's point and yogic viewpoint. So the lost life of Jesus revealed might not be what the theories say, might be what he did, right? We constantly talk about Jesus preached 4 yogas. I thought of adding this fun side bit to this. Thank you. 18 years. So 1860 to 75, we don't know much about his life. Post Bhairavi Brahmani, we don't know. Bhairavi Brahmani arrives in 1856-57 to this place. After Bhairavi Brahmani leaves, we don't get much incident about his life. We know about Sri Ramakrishna's life very deeply post 1882, practically on a daily basis, because M starts writing about it. Some reminiscences come from 1880s. The last 4 months of his life has now been written in Bengali in deep details. English, Swami Chittarananda is probably coming up soon, but there is certain part of his life we don't know much details about.
I can really use your help on this next song because, when I first wrote this, it was like 50-something years ago, and my voice was a lot higher. So join in. It would really help out. Rejoice, 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 the Lord of love appears. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see, they shall see, they shall see God. Renew your mind, pray to feel His grace, transform your life and live within His love. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see, they shall see, they shall see God. The Father is not far from you. He loves you so. Father is the nearest of the near. Open up your mind. Open up your heart. Surrender your soul to Him. Rejoice, rejoice, the kingdom's now at hand. Rejoice, rejoice, speaks the Son of Man. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see, they shall see, they shall see God. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see, they shall see, they shall see God. Rejoice, rejoice, the kingdom's now at hand. Rejoice, rejoice, speaks the Son of Man. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see, they shall see, they shall see God. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see, they shall see, they shall see God. Rejoice, 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 rejoice. The Lord of light is here.
pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. And this taxing was first made when Cyrenius was the governor of Syria. All went to be taxed, every one into his own city. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, out of the city of Nazareth into Judea, unto the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be taxed with Mary, his espoused wife, being great with child. And so it was that, while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping over the watch of their flocks by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them, and they were sore afraid. And the angel said unto them, Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign unto you. You shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill towards men. And it came to pass, as the angels were gone away from them into heaven, the shepherds said one to another, Let us now go even unto Bethlehem, and see this thing which is come to pass, which the Lord hath made known unto us. And they came with haste, and found Mary and Joseph and the babe lying in a manger. And when they had seen it, they made known abroad the saying which was told them concerning this child. And all they that heard it wondered at those things which were told them by the shepherds. But Mary kept all these things and pondered them in her heart. And the shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all the things that they had heard and seen as it was told unto them.
City sidewalks, busy sidewalks, dressed in holiday style. In the air there's a feeling of Christmas. Children laughing, people passing, greeting smile after smile. And on every street corner you hear silver bells, silver bells. It's Christmas time in the city. Ring-a-ling, hear them ring. Soon it will be Christmas Day. String of street lights, even stoplights, blink a bright red and green as the shoppers rush home with their treasures. Hear the snow crunch, see the kids bunch. This is Santa's big scene. And above all this bustle, you hear silver bells, silver bells. It's Christmas time in the city. Ring-a-ling, hear them ring. Soon it will be Christmas Day.
City sidewalks, busy sidewalks, dressed in holiday style. In the air there's a feeling of Christmas. People laughing, children passing, greeting smile after smile. And on every street corner you hear silver bells, silver bells. It's Christmas time in the city. Ring-a-ling, hear them ring. Soon it will be Christmas Day. Silver bells, silver bells. It's Christmas time in the city. Ring-a-ling, hear them ring. Soon it will be Christmas Day. Soon it will be Christmas Day. Soon it will be Christmas Day.
So I'm reading from chapter 21 of Sri Ramakrishna and His Divine Play on page 356. A year after the worship of Shodashi, the master's mind was eager to see the Divine Mother by means of another religious path. At that time, he was acquainted with Shambhu Charan Malik, who would read the Bible to him. Thus he became aware of the pure life of Jesus and of the Christian faith. As soon as the desire to practice Christianity arose in his mind, the Divine Mother fulfilled it in a miraculous way. He did not have to make any special effort. The event took place as follows. Jadulal Malik's garden house is situated at the south side of the Dakshinaswar Kali temple. The master occasionally went there for a walk. From their first meeting, Jadulal and his mother loved and respected the master greatly. If they were away when the master went to Jadu's garden for his walk, the caretakers would open the parlor for him and ask him to sit and rest a while. There were some magnificent pictures hanging on the walls of that room, and one of them depicted the child Jesus on his mother's lap. The master said that one day he sat in that room and intently studied that image, thinking of the wonderful life of Jesus. Just then, he saw the picture become animate and luminous. Rays of light emanated from the bodies of Mother Mary and the child Jesus, entering the master's heart and revolutionizing his mental attitudes. When he observed that his inborn Hindu impressions were vanishing from his mind and that different ones were arising, he tried to control himself by resisting them in various ways. He entreated the Divine Mother, saying, "Mother, what are you doing to me?" But the onslaught continued. The waves of those impressions rose forcefully and completely submerged the Hindu bent of his mind. The master's love and devotion for Hindu gods and goddesses disappeared, and his heart was filled with faith in and reverence for Jesus and his religion. He then had a vision of Christian clergymen offering incense and lights in front of the image of Jesus in a church, expressing their inner longing through prayer. After he returned to the Dakshinaswar temple garden, The Master remained uninterruptedly absorbed in meditation on those experiences pertaining to Jesus. He completely forgot to visit the Divine Mother in the temple. The waves of Christian faith that swayed him lasted for 3 days. When the Master was walking in the Panchavati at the end of the 3rd day, he saw a beautiful but unfamiliar God-man with a fair complexion advancing towards him, gazing at him steadily. The Master immediately realized that he was a foreigner and that he belonged to a different race. He saw that his eyes were large and beautiful, and though his nose was a little flat at the tip, it in no way marred the handsomeness of his face. The Master was charmed by the unique divine expression on his serene face and wondered who he could be. Very soon after that, the figure drew near, and a voice from within told him, "This is Jesus Christ, the great yogi, the loving Son of God, who is one with his Father, who shed his heart's blood and suffered torture for the salvation of humanity." Then the God-man Jesus embraced the Master and merged into him. In ecstasy, the Master lost external consciousness, and his mind remained united with Sadguna Brahman for some time. With this vision, the Master became convinced that Jesus was truly a divine incarnation. One day, when we visited the Master long after his vision of Christ, he raised the topic of Jesus and asked us, "Well, you have read the Bible. What does it say about the features of Christ? What did he look like?" We replied, "Sir, we have not seen this particularly mentioned anywhere in the Bible, but Jesus was born a Jew, so he must have been fair, with large eyes and an aquiline nose." The Master then said, "But I saw that his nose was slightly flattened at the tip. Who knows why I saw him that way?" Although we did not respond further at that time, we wondered how the image seen by him in ecstasy could resemble the actual form of Jesus. Like all Jewish men, he must have had an aquiline nose. Sometime after the Master passed away, we learned that there were 3 recorded versions regarding the features of Jesus, and that one of them mentioned that the tip of his nose was a little flat.
You may have heard this song before. I'm asking if you will sing along. It makes it so much better.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops glisten and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, with every Christmas card I write. May your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be white. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. With every Christmas card I write, may your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be white. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, with every Christmas card I write. May your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be white.
Om. Taking refuge in the holy feet of Sri Sarada Devi, Universal Mother, and Sri Ramakrishna, the teacher of the world, my humble salutations to them forever and ever. And let us chant the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us our daily bread. Forgive us those as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not in temptation. Deliver us from evil. Merry Christmas to you all. A man was in desperation, and he was running in his full capacity in a street. A wise man stopped him and asked, "Dear, why are you running? What is the matter?" The man replied anxiously that, "I am being chased continuously." Then the wise man said, "Let me see who is chasing you." Then he saw behind that man, and he found nobody was chasing him. Maybe a dog or a police or any human. Nobody was chasing. Then the man said, the wise man said, "I don't find anybody chasing you." And the man said, "What do you mean? Don't you see this that is chasing me?" Then the wise man looked again and understood that he was indicating his own shadow. His own shadow was chasing him. Then the man continued, "Yes, it is this shadow which is chasing me all the time. I am trying to get rid of this shadow from me." And the wise man said, "Fine, what are the endeavors you did to get rid of your shadow?" Then the man continued, "You know what I did? I dug a 6 feet pit. Then I wanted to bury my shadow in that. So he filled the dirt on the pit, and immediately he found the shadow is already out of the dirt. Untiringly it came out. Then he said, I also tried to get rid of the shadow in various timings. In the morning, I was running in full speed. I found my shadow is ahead of me. Then I turned and I was running backwards, and I found my shadow was behind me. So I don't know how to get rid of this shadow out of my life. Then the wise man advised, I will tell you how to get rid of this. Then he suggested, lay down completely, you will get rid of it. So this man laid himself completely on the ground. It was midday. Then he looked for a shadow here and there, and he found it was not there. And then he felt happy, and he felt, okay, I got rid of this shadow. The moral of this story is, the wise man says to us, we are all like this man who is running to get rid of this shadow. What is this shadow? I and mine. The concept of I and mine. Sri Ramakrishna says desire and lust. So when we run towards material enjoyment, that is daytime, it is running ahead of us. And when we turn around and run towards God, it is actually behind us. Then when we surrender completely to God, then it is kept under control or it vanishes. So we all know the story of Christmas. Many songs and hymns we heard about what Christmas is. But this time we shall experience the importance of the philosophy of means to follow Christ. Please don't think I am going to bore you with some philosophy. So before I go into this subject, I would like to give some disclaimers. So let us understand the terminologies before we understand, or before I go to the subject. So what do we mean by Christmas? Meaning is, Christmas means God is close to us. That is the exact meaning of Christmas. In Vedantic sense, God is inseparable from us. So we can say we are God. Like Oregon is America. Like that. Now, the next term is Christ. What do we mean by Christ? Christ is a title. Christ means to be an ideal person. That is the exact meaning. The ideal truth that comes as a divine manifestation of God to destroy incarnate errors. That's all. What is the meaning of Jesus? Jesus means Savior, Messiah. This is derived from Hebrew language. And who is going to help us to become Christ. What is the meaning of heaven? Heaven means not somewhere, it is to search up. Heaven means home of God. Sri Ramakrishna says beautifully, mansion of mirth. He says that in his gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. So in traditional Vedantic or Sanskrit word, it is called Swarga. Swarga means heaven. Swaraga, there are 3 syllables. That is spiritual enjoyment knowledge. That is heaven. Heaven means mansion of mirth. So let us remember these things. And what did Christ teach to us? To become an ideal person. So how to become? Simple, to imitate Him. That's all. To imitate Christ. So when a bond exists between 2 people, it is easy to fall into imitation. So, what do we mean by imitation here? We have to follow Christ. So, how do we follow? So, tomorrow onwards, we will dress exactly like how Christ dressed. We'll go as a fashion show, like a long hair, and we know the photo that he wears a nice gown, kind of a cassock gown, kind of gowns like what Arabians wear, and now we are going to walk on the street. Is it that what he said? No. What he means by imitation is imitating him internally, not external. So, what do we imitate then? It is called in Latin imitatio Christi. That is what is imitation of Christ. So, the endeavor to live and act exactly how Christ lived and acted. This is the main theme. Is it easy task to imitate? Christ himself gives a caution on understanding how to understand this imitation. During his time, the priestcraft was in full swing. So they took undue advantage. The priest took undue advantage of the people's blind faith and held them to ransom. So these teachers, that is priests, never practiced what they preached. So Jesus advised them. You must, them means people who were living, his listeners. You must follow everything they tell you to do. Do not, however, imitate their actions, because they do not practice what they teach. So it is quite relevant in present day, as we have plenty of examples of people who do not practice what they advise to others. So why we imitate Christ? Saint Augustine is saying this. Why art thou proud, O man? God for thee became low. Thou wouldst perhaps be ashamed to imitate a lowly man. Then at least imitate the lowly God. Jesus himself says, if any man would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. We were just hearing some message of crucifixion. What is crucifixion is detachment to material enjoyment. Crucifixion of Christ is detachment to material enjoyment and victory of spirit. That is the concept of Easter. So one has to carry all their material enjoyment, and one day they have to sacrifice those things. That is the meaning of take up his cross and follow me. So let us believe in imitation. Imitation plays an important behavior in any in anybody's spiritual path, and it makes a profound impact on person's growth in spirituality. Sri Ramakrishna clearly says this. I have prepared the mold, and you have only to cast yourself in it. And an imitation, he is saying, an imitation custard apple reminds one of the real fruit. And he himself imitated many behaviors in his life. And what he means by imitation? Imitation means yearning for God, or dive deep. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, please dive deep to collect the pearls. Please don't be happy with the foam pearls. Don't collect the foam pearls when you go to the sea. Please dive deep and get the real pearls. So he's saying plunge into divine love. Sri Ramakrishna says many times in his gospel. Sri Ramakrishna himself imitated. He, in his spiritual practices, he imitated as a handmaid of Mother Kali. He lived that way, in perfect imitation. Then he imitated the mood of Hanuman. So he says that tail was growing on his back. Hanuman is monkey king. Then he imitated the characteristics of gopis. Then later he imitated as one of the female professional singer. So we are going to discuss on the book called Imitation of Christ. Swamiji carried this book with him. It would be he says it would be inappropriate to say that this book was written. I mean, the Thomas A. Kempis, who wrote this book, he's saying it is inappropriate to say that it was written. Rather, each letter of the book is marked deep with the heart's blood of the great soul who has renounced all for his love of Christ. He also continues, the reader, while reading this book, will hear the echoes of the Bhagavad Gita over and over again. Swamiji clearly matched. It is very true. I am going to mark it Imitation of Christ to you all now. So, like Bhagavad Gita, it says, give up all your dharmas and follow me. Barbara Mothers's famous verse, Sarva dharman parityajya mame ekam saranam vraja aham va sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami masuchaha. This sloka or verse appears in 18th chapter, 66th verse. So I request you all to refer that very important verse in Bhagavad Gita. Who is this author? Thomas A. Kempis. He was born at Kempten. I may not be pronouncing it rightly. It is in Germany in 1379. 1379 he was born in the place called Kempten. His father's name was John Hammerken. Hammerken means in Germany little hammer. So he's going to hammer us. He's going to hammer all of us. Just one good shot. So he was a blacksmith. His mother was her name was Gertrude Hammerken. And she ran a school for small children. That is their family. At the age of 7, he decided to enter a religious life. So he decided to join his older brother, who was already a prior of the monastery in Saint Agnes, and the congregation is Windisham. He joined congregation Windisham. But the rule forbade two brothers cannot live in the same community. But later the permission was granted because of their good characters and good conduct. He was ordained as a priest in 1413 at the age of 33, and he undertook sub-prior post of the monastery, and he was entrusted with training of the novices like Asheshananda. When Asheshanandaji came here, first Prabhavanandaji gave this job to him. You must be knowing Toki. So during this time, the congregation faced interdiction from that time Pope. So these monks have to live in exile, and at the same time, he was assigned a task to take care of his brother who was ailing. And, and his brother died in 1427. During this time, we don't know much about after this, what he did, how he spent his time in solitude, developing spiritual powers, like, the mystics' lives are always hidden. We just saw. So it was something like that. Then his brother died in 1427, and during this time, he poured his heart's blood for the love of Christ, and he wrote this book, Imitation of Christ. Even there is some doubt whether he was author or somebody else, because he showed his humility of not disclosing his name of his on his work. So Thomas died near. It's very difficult to pronounce. It is Zwolle in northeastern Netherlands in 1471 at the age 91. So this book, Imitation of Christ, is divided into 4 parts. That is, first, he doesn't call it as parts. He call it as 4 books. The first book is Helpful Counsels of the Spiritual Life. That is, how to prepare for Christ. This is a very, very serious study. If one wants to be a sincere spiritual aspirant, one has to read this book. There is no comedy, there is no fun in that book. Very serious spiritual endeavors. First is how to prepare for Christ. Second book says directives for interior life. That is how to discover Christ in our heart. Third is on interior consolation, how to listen to Christ. Now Christ was of exterior, then he is brought into your heart. Then you are going to listen to what Christ is going to say in third. Fourth is the Blessed Sacrament. That is how to self-surrender in Christ or act in self-surrender. This is the 4 books of the Imitation of Christ. Sri Ramakrishna says beautifully, there are 4 kinds of devotees in the gospel. He says Pravartakas, Sadhaka, and Siddha, and Siddhas of Siddha. It is there in our gospel. What is the meaning of Pravartaka? Setting food for God. That is book 1 of Imitation of Christ. How to prepare for Christ. Second is Sadhaka. Be an efficient person for God. Make yourself efficient for God. Then how to discover Christ in your heart. Third is Siddhas. Siddha means perfection. Means ready for God. That is ready for Christ. How to listen to Christ. Third is Siddhas of Siddhas. That is acting as per the will or of Christ or self-surrender. Now book 1. I'm not going to take much time. I'm going to, as the time is running out, so I'm going to brief that. Book 1 says how to prepare for Christ. The first chapter, he opens up beautiful statement. He who follows me walks not in darkness, says the Lord. By these words of Christ, we are advised to imitate his life and his habits. Then the book 1 deals in preparation to follow Christ or grace of God. It deals with how to withdraw the outward life. These are all Vedantic conception. It emphasizes on desire of worldliness is vanity. That is the first step teaching taught in Vedanta. So Swamiji says, as recorded by Miss Waldo, the universe is ours to enjoy. Swamiji says this. Universe is ours to enjoy, but want nothing. To want is weakness, that is worldliness. Want make us beggars, and we are the sons of the kings, and not beggars. So that is Swamiji's teaching about what we mean by vanity of world. Swamiji further elucidates beautifully what is material and what is not. He questions. When the world is the end and the God is made as a means to attain that end, that is material. Reverse that. When God is the end and the world is only as a mean to attain the end, then the spirituality begins. So it is the choices with us. Who is the mean and who is the end? What is the end? So develop humility, a very important concept in the book 1. Now I just want to go a little deep. What is humility means? Humility has 2 feet. Always please remember, humility has 2 feet. What are they? One is appreciation of divine grace, and the second is consciousness of personal weakness. Consciousness of personal weakness. So that means we say we are all frail, and consider none more frail than others or than ourselves. Consider none more frail than ourselves. This matches who? Holy Mother. Last words of Holy Mother. Never find fault on others. Rather, see your own. Christians are taught to feel. We are all Christians. We are all taught to feel that we are frail and sinners. Why? Because it is a trait of humility. We are not taught self-degradation and deterioration. Please understand. Because when we say humility, there are 2 things I just told you. One is the appreciation of the divine grace. The other is thinking ourselves low. Please remember this because if you leave one foot and try to stand on one, we will lose our balance. So if we focus only on our sinner concept, low concept, then forgetting the divine grace is available to us, then it is not a right way. The secret behind such teaching is self-caution, that we have enough faults. Don't see other faults. Rather see one's own. And also, if you leave, okay, I am not the sinner. I have got all grace. I don't remember my faults. I don't remember my frailty. I just reject that. I only focus on divine grace. Immediately, the concept of ahankara will come. Then I have my divine grace. Then why should I every day do my self-disciplining process? Let me leave that. So we have to remember that we should be conscious of our weakness. At the same time, we should be aware that the divine grace is available. Only then the humility concept is fulfilled. Kempis focus further on other disciplines. He is saying that develop pure conscience, then fervent prayer over multi-course banquet. Then he says deep silence over exhilaration, then holy deeds over nice sounding words. All these first book concentrate on yama, niyama and asana of the Ashtanga Yoga. 8 concepts are there to be a yogi. That is first yama, that is what you don'ts. Then niyama is what do's, what is doable. Then asana is meditation, focus or convenience, creating a meditation convenience. Then we go to the second book. The second book, it is dealing with cleaning the heart and mind for the Christ. So from the yoga concept, the second book teaches pratyahara and dharana and pranayama. Controlling of breath. Pratyahara is drawing with one's own awareness, drawing within one's own awareness, and the dharana is introspective focus. Then and the most important chapter in book 2 is on knowing ourselves. We will never become interior and devout unless we refrain from criticism of others and pay attention to ourselves. Very important statement. God alone is eternal and immeasurable, filling all things. Then Kempis writes that a false sense of freedom and overconfidence are obstacles for spiritual life. Then book 3 on interior consolation is the longest. So there is a conversation going on between Christ and the aspirant. The book 3 addresses various questions like our Arjuna and Krishna. Then how self-love hinders our search for God. Then against how to manage slanders. Then how we should bless God in all troubles. Then how we should not be over anxious. A warning against vain and worldly learnings. Like that. And also in that third book, Jesus promises guarantee. He gives a guarantee as we have guarantees for our gadgets. Computer has guarantee. Many things have guarantees. So he gives guarantee, a protection. Do not let your heart be troubled and do not be afraid. Jesus is nearest to us. Then he completes with his own prayers. Follow me. I am the way, the truth and the life. Without the way, there is no going. Without the truth, there is no knowing. Without life, there is no living. I am the way. You are to follow. I am the truth. You are to believe. I am the life. You are to hope for. The last book is book 4, that is fruit of self-surrender. The Saranagati in Vedanta. So that is the blessed sacrament. So it is called as in yoga samadhi. So this he concludes, make clean the mansions of your heart. Shut out the whole world. sit as a solitary sparrow on a housetop. Look at the comparison. And meditate on your transgressions. So finally, nothing will make us happier or please us as much as being obedient to the divine will. This wonderful book is the spirit of humility and a devotional treasure. The panting of the distressed soul, the best expression of Dasya Bhava, that is servant to God. And you will find this imprinted on every line of this great book. And the reader's heart, I'm sure, will be profoundly stirred by the author's thoughts of burning renunciation, their marvelous self-surrender, and deep sense of dependence on the will of God is independence. Dependence on the will of God is your independent nature. With this, I conclude Christmas message to take home is to imitate Christ in our inner life. And God bless you all. Let peace be with you always, with us always, and thank you for patient hearing. Merry Christmas.
So wish you Merry Christmas. So it's a happy occasion. So and good thoughts also. Occasion to contemplate and proceed on our spiritual journey. So I should thank all of you, the participants, the audience. The participants are Suji and our singer group, Toby, Chris, and Miriam, and also Barbara, Cheyenne, Eve, and Swami Devishan. So thank you all of you. Cheyenne invoked us with that question that not much are not known about Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother also. That's right. But there's a little difference. So once somebody asked Swami Shardananji Maharaj, because he concluded his magnus opus, that is the life of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna and his divine play. In Bengali, Sri Ramakrishna Leela Prasanga. He concluded on 1st of January 1886. So Sri Ramakrishna lived after that also, till August 15, 1886. So they requested to write on those days. But he said, it is not me that who wrote his biography. It is someone else as what pushing me. And I don't get that inspiration now, so I cannot write. And he did not. Of course, later, Swami Prabhanandaji, not Prabhavanandji, Prabhanandaji, who later became vice president of our order, he wrote the last days of Sri Ramakrishna on earth in Kashipur Garden House. But it's based on some diary notes of him and some other sources also. So we know a little. But what is the difference? The difference is the modern time. You know, we are blessed to have the photograph of Sri Ramakrishna. So mother used to say, the modern people are very clever, that they took a photo of Sri Ramakrishna, the incarnation of modern age. You know, once I told a devotee, you know, the great ones, that means avatars, they have long right hand. It touches their knees. If you try, you cannot. But their hands are, it would touch the knees. And you can see in the picture, his right hand is longer. And not many people notice it. So, and you know, one devotee, our devotee, initiated by Swami Ashcharji, he did not like this half-cladded man. But I said, this is an opportunity to see his feature, his body. See, if it is like shirt, like me, you would have doubted. But now you cannot doubt. So, whatever is good for us, that is revealed by divine grace. And that is the difference. Though Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother born in modern era, those parts are revealed which people can have devotion. You know, even the last photograph of Sri Ramakrishna also was taken, but it was so emaciated body that even Ramakrishna Mission did not print it. And Swami Chetananji printed it, but covered by flowers artificially. But Western devotees like whatever it is, let us have that. So, the difference of these are in time. Modern time, it is more revealing. Even today, if an incarnation is born, you'll find every moment of it. Like when Swamis, our great Swamis came to the West, our devotees would write, what is he doing now? And next. So, for spiritual aspirants, it's not that important. The importance is of that which will help us. So they also reveal that one. At least we know about Sri Ramakrishna that during that time he was practicing spiritual discipline. You know, Mathur Babu arranged two sets of people. One to report him what he does something wrong, Sri Ramakrishna. And other set would tell him what good he did. So it was like searchlight. And then Hriday, his nephew, was with him. And so many other people were there. Only thing, they did not write. So we know something that this period, Sri Ramakrishna was present there. Like Holy Mother, after the passing of Sri Ramakrishna, she went to Kamarpukur and stayed there. Though incidents are not known, but their presence is very much known. Regarding Christ, his presence was not known where he was. That's why so many speculations are there. So, this is a little clarification. So, I'll read a little what Swamiji has spoken and written also. I'll read that and after that we'll have Merry Christmas. We have read different stories that have been written about him, about Christ, Jesus Christ. We know the scholars and their writings and the higher criticism, and we know all that has been done by study. We are not here to discuss how much of the New Testament is true. We are not here to discuss how much of that life is historical. It does not matter at all. Whether the New Testament was written within the 500 years of his birth, nor does it matter even how much of that life is true. But there is something behind it, something we want to imitate. To tell a lie, you have to imitate a truth. And that truth is a fact. You cannot imitate that which you have never perceived. But there must have been a nucleus, a tremendous power that came down, a marvelous manifestation of spiritual power. And of that we are speaking. It stands there. Therefore, we are not afraid of all the criticisms of the scholars. If I, as an Oriental, have to worship Jesus of Nazareth, there is only one way, that is, to worship him as God and nothing else. As we have heard, imitation. We have to imitate. And Swamiji also informs that. You have heard that Christ said, my words are spirit, and they are life. So are my words. And Swamiji also emphasizes, so are my words, spirit and life. They will burn their way into your brain, and you will never get away from them. Bold statement. He also said, I have a message for the West, as Buddha had a message for the East. So we have to read Swamiji to understand the spiritual nitty-gritty and how to proceed on it. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Can we see God? We cannot. Of course not. Can we know God? Of course not. If God can be known, he will be God no longer, because then he will be an object. So here knowing is different. Realizing. So knowledge is limitation, but I and my Father are one. I find the reality in my soul. These ideas are expressed in some religions, and in others only hinted. We have to find Father in heaven. And what is that heaven? Within our heart, the pure heart. In some, they were expatriated. Christ's teachings are now very little understood in this country. If you will excuse me, I'll say that they have never been very well understood. The resurrection, etc. Not understood properly. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. This sentence alone would save mankind if all books and prophets were lost. This purity of heart, what the spiritual journey is, it is to purify oneself. This purity of heart will bring the vision of God. Vision, not seeing something within, realizing. It is the theme of the whole music of this universe. In purity is no bondage, no limitation. Remove the veils of ignorance by purity. Then we manifest ourselves as we really are, and know that we were never in bondage. Know that we were never in bondage. The seeing of many is the great sin of all. The seeing of many is the great sin of all the world. Seeing many is the great sin of all the world. See all as self and love all. Let all idea of separateness go. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Wish you a happy Christmas and a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Please sing along.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Silent night, holy night, shepherds quake at the sight, glory stream from heaven afar, heavenly hosts sing Alleluia. Christ the Savior is born. Christ the Savior is born. Silent night, holy night, Son of God, love's pure light, radiant beams from thy holy face, with the dawn of redeeming grace. Jesus, Lord, at thy birth, Jesus, Lord, at thy birth. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace.
Swami Sheshananda is calling us to sing the last song.
We wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now bring us some figgy pudding, bring us some figgy pudding, bring us some figgy pudding, bring it right here. We won't go until we get some, we won't go until we get some, we won't go until we get some. bring it right here. Wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. Wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Yes, we wish you a Merry Christmas. Wish you a Merry Christmas. Wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you. Merry Christmas. Very good song.
All is well.